Hi, my name is Mandy, and today we're going to be talking about my favorite bookish buzzwords and tropes. I'm sure, as with all of your bookish buzzwords and tropes, your favorites, you have read good examples and bad examples of these tropes. So that's kind of how I set this video up. I will talk about the trope that I like, and then I'll share a bad example of a time that I was duped by the premise of that, and then a time where it was great. We're gonna start with my favorite tropes to begin with. There are only two of them that I have listed here. That doesn't mean that I don't like other tropes. These are just the two that came to mind. And the first one that I enjoy is an enemies to lovers. I just really like when people learn to care for each other who maybe had misunderstandings to begin with. I guess maybe that feels more true to life than some of the other ones. I feel like I have to put my foot in my mouth over assumptions that I make about not just people, but events and situations all the time. And it's nice to see a book where people can overcome that and allow feelings to take place. Now, with that in mind, I actually could not find a bad example for this. I think it's probably because any bad examples I have read, I did not keep and I have blocked out the memory of. So I don't have a bad example, but I do have a good example. And the example I have is P.S. I Love You by Casey West. This one is one of my favorite Casey West books. A girl starts writing lyrics on her desk and it spurs into a pen pal-ish relationship. What she doesn't know is that the guy is her worst enemy in the school, and of course she learns otherwise. And cuteness. Now my next favorite may actually lose me some subscribers. This is one that not very many people enjoy, but I do. And that is love triangles. I know. I'm pretty sure that this is in every other person I've ever watched doing a least favorite tropes video. Love triangle has been there, but I don't know what it is. I just really like watching or reading love triangles. Don't hate me. Something about having two perfectly good people in front of you and not knowing which is right. I don't know. I know they're not realistic. I know. So for a bad example on this, I'm gonna go with Twilight. I know everybody likes to hate on Twilight, but what I'm gonna say about this love triangle that I didn't like is that, there were a lot of Edward versus Jacob things going on when the books were coming out, but really when it comes down to it, there's no way that Bella was going to choose Jacob. It just wasn't going to happen. And so I don't enjoy love triangles where it seems stacked, I guess. And then an example of a good love triangle that I did enjoy, and that I think this is everybody's exception to the love triangle rule, and that is Clockwork Angel, the whole Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. You have a girl named Tessa who gets thrown into the Shadowhunter world, and she becomes close-ish with two young men, Will and Jem. And this one, you definitely have people who are very strict Team Will and very strict Team Jem. And I feel like she handled this love triangle really well by making us love everybody. And I'm gonna bite my tongue on some spoilers for this series. Now we're into bookish buzzwords. What words make a book an automatic want to read for me? I don't know, we'll see. The first one is boarding school. I like reading about boarding schools. I think it goes all the way back to my love for Harry Potter. I always wanted to be whisked away to the magical boarding school, which obviously did not happen, but ever since then I have enjoyed reading stories about boarding schools. Bad example is going to be Private by Kate Bryan. I loved this series when I was in high school, and now that I'm an adult, I realize how awful it is. It's basically a boarding school in Connecticut where people turn up dead, but it's not necessarily the girl trying to solve the mystery. The mystery like finds her, and it's just total drama, completely, utterly ridiculous. And then, I mean, I already talked about that, but great example is Harry Potter. I mean, who doesn't want to go to Hogwarts? Next buzzword is retelling. If it says it's a retelling, chances are I want to read it. I'm always looking for fresh takes on old stories. Bad example, I'm going to choose Romanov by Nadine Brandis. That one was on my most disappointing list from 2019. It was an Anastasia retelling, but it added magic, but the magic did not really do anything to further the story, and it seemed pointless to me. Now, a good retelling, I will go with another book I read last year, and that is Stain by A.G. Howard. The beginning of this book was a little slow, I will give it that, but it picked up and it was really good. This is a Princess and the Pea retelling. I've talked about this book before, and it kind of gets a little complicated trying to explain the plot, and I don't want to take the time to do so here. So I'll link down below my wrap-up video where I talk about this book. My next bookish buzzword is brother. You know, my best friend's brother or my ex-boyfriend's brother. Probably more like ex-boyfriend brothers, so love stories between a person and then two brothers. I don't know, it seems really... I'll explain a little bit more when I give my good example about why I like it. So bad example is going to be 99 Days by Katie Contugno. This one was about a girl who shows up in town after a year absence and something dramatic happened, and the only person who will talk to her is her ex-boyfriend's brother. Spoiler alert, this turns into a cheating story. Totally pointless and totally just shot down my hopes for a good brother love story. That really doesn't sound right when I say it out loud. Now, I actually could not come up with a good example of this story. I guess that it is a really tough story to write and does not always go over well, but there's a movie example that's good, and I think this actually comes down to the root of why I like the stories with the brothers. And that example is going to be While You Were Sleeping. It's a 90s movie starring Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman. You've got a girl who, she lives in Chicago and she works for the public transit system there. She's one of the people who takes the tokens back in the days when they still had tokens. So she collects tokens and she sees this guy every day and she kind of has this crush on him. Well, one day he gets mugged at the train station and knocked onto the tracks. There's a train coming, so she has to save him. And there's a mix-up in the hospital, and all of her family suddenly thinks that they are engaged, but he's in a coma, so she can't really tell them because she doesn't want to make things awkward after they already just like accepted her with open arms into their family. And as this guy is in a coma, she starts to fall for his brother. And it's just adorable. If you haven't seen While You Were Sleeping, highly, highly recommend. Maybe it's also the reason I like love triangles. Next up, I have two buzzwords that are similar but not quite the same. The first one is going to be old friends. So this is where, you know, you have someone shows up from their past and romance blooms. They haven't really had a relationship in recent years, or they're not like best friends. A bad example I have, this is one I read last year as well, and that is Last Year's Mistake by Gina Chioco. This is about a girl who has been living in this town for about a year, and then her childhood best friend shows up and knocks everything out of whack. I am all for childhood friends coming back into the picture, but in this one, they added some cheating elements and I was not okay. Surefire way to ruin my buzz is to throw cheating into the story. And then for a good example of old friends, I have The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This book is about a girl who spends every summer at her mom's best friend's beach house with mom's best friend and her two sons. She's had a crush on her older son Conrad forever, and he has always just seen her as a little sister, and this is about the year that that changes. So old friends coming together. It is so well done, and it's a lot more than just a cutesy frilly love story, despite what the cover may look like. Now, going alongside old friends is best friends. If I see the word best friend somewhere, I'm here for it. And that doesn't necessarily just mean a girl falling for her best friend. It could be brother's best friend's brother. So I guess best friend and brother can go together for my bookish buzzwords sometimes. Now, for a bad example, this one also might get me some hate, but I'm going to go with the relationship in Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. The main girl, Alina, her love interest is her best friend, that guy she grew up with. And to be honest, I just found their love story a little flat. They didn't have a lot of chemistry for me, and I didn't care very much about their relationship. Their kind of lack of a relationship is actually one of the big reasons why it took me so long to finish this trilogy to begin with. I have two for good examples for the best friend one. These are hitting both aspects of my best friend love. One is for my best friend's brother, so combining brother and best friend. And that's going to be The Princess Diaries by Meg Cabot. Most people probably know the basic plot of this, so I won't go into it. A girl finds out she's a princess and eventually falls for her best friend's brother, Michael. So cute, so adorable. Bah. And then the other best friend is for, best friends actually falling for each other, and the example I've chosen for that one is Love, Life, and the List by Casey West. This is about a girl who really wants to get her art into this big art show, but the person in charge of choosing art says that her art doesn't have any depth or experience, so she makes a list for ways you can get experience. Her best friend comes along for the list experience, and they end up falling for each other. Save the best for last. Probably my biggest bookish buzzword. It's slightly embarrassing, but by saving it for last, I have lowered the chances of people watching it. And a big bookish buzzword for me is kiss. Now, I've talked before about how I don't like sex scenes, and while I don't like sex scenes in books, I am a sucker for a good kiss scene. There's some line somewhere in there between good kiss scene and sex scene, and I don't know what it is, but I can tell you what I like and what I don't when I read it. So if you stick the word kiss in a title or a description, I'm probably going to read that book. So bad example, we have Kissing Max Holden by Katie Upperman. This one I got on a book outlet buy, and I was so excited to read it. I saw the word kiss and I was like, yeah! The description talked about a girl's childhood best friend, old friends, comes into her room at night and kisses her, and then kissing keeps happening on different occasions. And I was all for this, but what the description did not mention is that old friend has a girlfriend, and as I said, cheating is the biggest way to ruin my buzzword vibes. And that might be ironic considering my good example, because I guess there is a cheating element in that one. But I read this one before cheating bothered me so much, and so it still has a nice place in my heart, and that is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. It says kiss in the title. And she goes to France. Oh, and this one has boarding school in it too. So you'll see that a lot of my bookish buzzwords overlap, and when they overlap, it makes me doubly excited. This is about a girl who gets sent to the American School of Paris for her senior year of high school. It's a boarding school. She meets a guy named St. Clair, who is adorable. He is an American British person. He's American, but he grew up in London with his mom, and so he has an accent. It's adorable. So there you have it, my bookish buzzwords and tropes. That being said, while all of these are definitely high up there on my list, I don't know if there are many buzzwords or tropes that I actually stay away from. I was trying to think of some least favorite ones, and I don't really have them. I guess cheating. I don't know why I've been mentioning cheating so much lately. I guess it's probably because I've been reading books that have cheating in them and it bugs me so much. Anyways, thanks for watching. What are some of your bookish buzzwords? Do you share mine? Are you going to unsubscribe now that you know that I like love triangles and kissing? Let me know down in the comments. Also, if you have any recommendations that fit my buzzwords, I am all ready for it. Especially ones that combine, as you saw throughout the video. I like the ones that combine things. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you like what you saw, feel free to click subscribe. You can also follow me on my social media, which I will link down below. I hope you're having a great bookish day and that many good books are being thrown your way. I'll see you next time. Bye!